Content, episode 2 of season 2.
Yeah. Yes, thank you so much for joining us. We are two Brooklyn-based knitters, podcasters, friends. We met 3 years ago through the knitting community and have since started our own podcast. We have a little knitting circle.
Yeah, if you missed it last time, our channel got mysteriously deleted. We won't dwell, but this is our take 2, hence season 2. And today we're going to be talking about our Rhinebeck sweaters. Rhinebeck is about 2 weeks out from when we were filming. I can't say when this will be uploaded, but hopefully within the next couple days. Yeah. And we are going to work on finishing our sweaters, share about what they are, and do a little Q&A. And if you are also trying to finish your Rhinebeck sweater, or a little sad that you can't go, or you don't like Rhinebeck, that's okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully you
can join along with us.
Yeah. You can watch and knit.
Yeah. So, cozy up. Today's going to be a little non-traditional. We're going to be knitting while we chat. We're going to be answering some questions that people submitted. And we'll be talking about kind of our actual Rhinebeck plans for the weekend of. Yeah. We want to see you virtually, in person, so reach out. And I said it last time, and it was really cool when somebody answered, but because not all of us, not to expose anybody, myself included, make it to the end of hour-long knitting podcasts, I'm going to ask this in the beginning. Comment below what you're working on, if you're going to Rhinebeck, if you've never been. Yeah. I think that's it.
Yay!
Should we do a little what we're wearing whip check-in to start us off?
Sure.
Yeah.
I am wearing a cardigan that I bought from a store.
Nice.
And did not knit.
It's cashmere though.
It is cashmere.
Cashmere I actually find
I don't knit.
It's hard to justify knitting cashmere.
Agreed.
The only cashmere thing I've ever knit is my cashmere Sophie scarf, which I actually wear all the time and want to knit another one.
But I think a sweater...
It's just not cost effective. It's crazy to justify.
Yeah. I've been curious about, I don't remember what it's called, but Florence, knitting with Florence.
Okay.
Got this UK cashmere that seems less crazy expensive that I've been curious about. I've also been curious about that thin strand of knitting for olive cashmere.
Yeah, you have
hold stuff with.
That's instead of you would do it in place of
mohair.
Yeah.
But I also cashmere pills so much.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So this is my store-bought cashmere sweater that I'm feeling very cozy in.
Yeah, no, I feel similarly about cashmere. I want to try Cardiff cashmere.
Yeah, me too.
And then otherwise, I love Clinton Hill cashmere, and just one ball of that can really go far. I've done a 1-ball hat. I'll do a 1-ball neckerchief.
I think an accessory.
Yeah, perfect.
Cashmere socks. I do cashmere mittens. I would do.
I want to take part in the tomato soup core now. And part of that, I think, for me, will be knitting a bright red Sophie scarf for my neck. Yeah. Oh my god. With cashmere.
Bright red cashmere mittens. I know.
So cozy. You kind of have tomato soup cal. What's it called? Tomato soup norm cal? Okay. Tomato soup.
Tomato soup core.
Okay, tomato soup. You know what? Tomato soup core mal, which is hosted, I know, at least by High Fiber Knits. I don't know who's doing, because I know it's also crochet and it's sewing, but I don't know who's doing it on that end.
Do I have that yarn, you're saying?
Well, you have that bright red Angora, Sophie.
To somebody.
You gave it to somebody? You didn't even tell me.
I regret it a little.
Who'd you give it to?
To my friend Tara.
Okay. She's a knitter, so she'll appreciate it. Why didn't you just weren't gonna wear it? You didn't feel like?
I didn't think I would, but now I think I might have.
Well, you finished it in the summer. You could have at least waited a season.
I know.
But
I'm a really good friend.
Well, if you go, actually you can't see, but we could maybe insert a picture. Anyway, Isabelle made this legendary Angora Sophie shawl, right? The Sophie shawl. It wasn't the scarf.
The scarf. You're right. It is the shawl because it's worsted weight or something.
Yeah.
And I just knit until it was half, and then.
Yeah, which if you've never made that pattern, you should. It's great. But knit halfway through and then finish. Yeah.
And it's teeny tiny. And now I'm I want another gray teeny tiny one in unspun and Surrey, but I'm like, it's too much the same thing. So
Yeah.
maybe I need to do something with texture, or like somebody suggested knitting a vest out of that yarn. Anyways.
What, the Angora?
No, with the unspun that I have the same of.
Oh, right, the unspun she showed on the last episode.
I do think the Angora could become mittens.
Yeah.
But that's like too warm. The Angora's tricky.
It's hard, yeah.
It's like dense.
I honestly have never knit with Angora, like pure fluffy Angora.
Yeah.
I feel like it'd be.
You have the black one still, right?
Did I have the black? Wait, I think I had the red and then gave it back to you. I think is what happened.
Oh.
I don't know if I still have it in my stash. I'll have to check, but yeah.
Oh, were you the one I gave the red to?
Yeah, and I think would I have given it back to you?
I don't think so.
Okay, well we'll check
If you
later.
don't want it, I would love it back.
Okay, I'll give you the Angora back because I don't really see myself knitting so frequently. Okay, so what are you working? Oh, I'll say what I'm wearing first.
Yes. It's much more exciting than my store bought.
We'll both have their place, but I'm wearing a Junko Okamoto Hana sweater, which is Hana.
Majestic.
Which this sweater is my favorite thing I've ever knit. I'm looking at it now and being like, ooh, you should knit this again. So I did it in 3 strands of whole skarn, super soft, in stone gray, I think is what it was called.
Incredible.
And I did a size 3, which is what she wears in the sample pictures. And I was like, ooh, I love that look on her. And it's like super oversized, and she wears it with like really big pants also. I've loved it for that purpose. I kind of am like, ooh, I have this pattern. Maybe I'll do one that's a size 1 or something, and just
another one.
Oh, I love this. This is such a cool pattern. Like, you wear this and it's wearable because it's just cables and it's in a neutral color. At least my version is.
Wow.
But it also has like a lot going on. So
wow.
yeah. And it was great. Like, I think this was my first cable project. So like, as someone who had never knit cables, it was like amazing. It's almost like a sampler, right? Like a sewing sampler if you've ever made one of those, but cables. Yeah. And then I'll give an honorable a shout out to my half wrap, which is back here. And
Yay.
This is my new apartment.
And it lives here, right? It's your couch blanket.
Yeah, it's our blanket, and it's like makes me so happy. I don't even like resent my roommates for it being unfolded. Like when I come home and it's like out and strewn about, and I know someone's like watch TV with it on. It makes me feel really happy.
That's really beautiful.
Yeah.
It bears mention, or well, how are we today?
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
How are we?
We're good. I mean,
should we do a check-in?
Let's do a check-in. Let's do a parasocial check-in.
Okay, this is clunky because I think we are both feeling a lot of bit like sad about the world right now and the Israel situation.
Yeah.
And we are Jewish and we are like podcasting, and it felt like weird to not mention it. So
yeah.
I guess,
yeah, our heart goes out. I've been checking in with some friends there. Just scary stuff all around, and I feel for all the families who are missing loved ones and all that.
And scary for Palestinian and Israeli families.
Yeah.
And scary for diaspora Jews who are going to experience higher rates of anti-Semitism, ourselves included, you know.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of sort of communal trauma response going on. So we just wanted to mention it, and we're kind of feeling like this is a space for, you know, we valuing joy. While the world is sad. Also, Hannah had mentioned to me that there was also an earthquake in Afghanistan. So just like a little bit heavy today in the world.
It felt funny. I don't know. You were at least like I don't know. It feels funny to go on with like activities of daily living while all this stuff is circulating around us.
Yeah. I was saying I was at a klezmer concert last night, and it felt really nice to just be at kind of like a neutral celebration of like Jewish culture.
Yeah.
But also like a very progressive space.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So I just wanted to mention it.
But otherwise, it's a holiday-ish here in the U.S. I don't really have off. Nobody I know really has off, which is like great. I feel like so it was Columbus Day, now recognized as Indigenous Peoples Day, and I feel like companies are like, well, let's just go fully, like let's just not have a holiday at all.
Right now that we're not celebrating the colonizer.
Yeah, we're like,
you got to go to work.
And so I have to like go into work after this, which is fine. But I'm happy to carve out this space to talk about knitting and lovely things.
Yeah, and friendship and joy and meditative.
And it's the most beautiful fall day here. Truly
like,
insane.
I woke up and I was like, I'm so sad.
Yeah.
And I like remembered that things were sad, and then I was like, a gust of cold air.
Yeah, and the cold air is nice. It's like sweater weather. I'm wearing rustic wool, like super comfortable. It was chilly to be like this morning. Yeah, super nice. What are you working on?
I am working on my halibut sweater. And I am in the middle of the ribbing.
Nice.
And I don't know if I will finish this in 2 weeks. But my goal is to finish this ribbing. I have like a little over an inch and it needs to be 3 inches. Like tonight, tomorrow, and then I have 2 weeks for the sleeves, which I think I'm going to do 2 at a time for the first time.
Yeah.
And I think I can do it, but I'm also like not going to be mad if I can't. Oh, I just dropped a bunch of stitches. That's okay.
We're going to be like knitting and picking up stitches throughout this podcast.
Yeah.
What are you, okay, so Isabelle's using the Good Wool by Pearl Soho. It's a sport weight wool. And the pattern is by Caitlin Hunter.
Yes.
And
a couple friends are knitting this for Rhinebeck as well. And
you're liking the fit so far, right?
Love.
Like good fit, right?
I've never actually like understood the short rows. Mm-hmm. I think because I haven't done a pattern that like, pardon me, picking up the stitches while I talk, that really like that they make sense for my body.
Yeah.
But it hangs quite nicely. It's like longer in the back and the sides are a little,
So where did you do the short rows underneath the color work or above the color work?
Above the color work, they're right here.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Just pretty normal, but it just
it's done really well. Yeah.
I think the design. I mean, this is my first of Caitlin Hunter's designs, honestly, because when I was like new to Instagram, she was being like maybe like a little bit canceled or something, and I didn't know why, so I didn't follow her for a while. But I have decided that since I do not know why, I'm gonna knit the funfish pattern that I love dearly and have been looking at for some time. So, I feel like she might really know how to do plus size.
That's
bodies.
awesome. That's such a good feeling. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you did, this is like a light blue also, and Isabelle's knitting it with a brown or like a taupey color. Yeah, it's such a beautiful weight. I'm like obsessed with sport weight. I've been meaning to do the DRK everyday sweater for ages. Do you know that sweater?
I don't think so.
It's so basic. It's like, it's just like a basic mock neck, circular yoke. But I've been like, it calls for sport weight. I'm like, what's a sport weight? Like, I don't even know where I'd find like a quality sport weight. And I'm like, this is the sport weight of my dreams.
Oh,
it's soft, but it's rustic. It's awesome.
Great. I love a sport weight. The baby alpaca that I had when I was dyeing yarn that I would use as a base was also sport weight. And it was really fun. And I mean, this is a DK sweater. And I realized, Hannah made fun of me like in our last episode because I didn't gauge swatch and I used like a sport weight yarn instead of a DK. I realized I was not using the recommended needle size either, but I think you
went down a needle size.
I went down a needle size and I sized up in the pattern.
Okay. To me, that will work for me often. That will work for me frequently. Yeah.
So I think the moral of the story is you should gauge swatch, and also experience is not nothing.
Yeah. Nice. So you're doing now just knit one, purl one, ribbing. Yeah.
Yes, and I was very distressed that I forgot that I wanted to twist the ribbing.
She wanted to do twisted rib, yeah.
And then Hannah was like, you were right, this is good. So
I wouldn't want this. Yeah, as I mentioned very aggressively before, I would not want that in twisted rib. I mean, I like it in just like the straight rib.
So here we are.
I am working on a self-drafted pattern, which is like this craziness. I'm actually, I hope people don't mind. I'm going to be trying it on right now on the podcast because I just transferred it onto
she's deciding if it's time to switch
these
to
barber cords. I don't want to make it. I don't want to make it too long because I want to do.
Wait, show them your ends.
No, I can't show them.
Of course you can.
Oh boy. Okay, so Isabelle, like, I feel like also. So I'm like pretty. You're good at. So I'm like a pretty. I feel like. I don't know, well-behaved knitter. I don't know what the word would be.
By the book.
Yes, by the book knitter, and like I knit with like, I'll gauge swatch, what else will I do? Like, I'll blog,
I'm
like,
kind of like that.
yeah. The one thing I hate doing is, like, which is pretty, like, stereotypical, is, like, I don't love to weave in ends. I'll do it, but I'm like...
I do. I like it.
Yeah, you like it. So anyway. And I know that there's a better way to do this. I was, like, self-draft, like, just so much brain energy was going into, like, making this pattern and that situation, and I just needed to, like, go. I want to have it done. I'm, like, really loving it.
It's like a delicious frenzy of, like, creative expression, so.
100%. I didn't want to lose momentum, and I know there's, like, Weave and Stevens and, like, all this, like, cool stuff that you can do to, like, not end up in this situation where, like, these are the innards of my sweater.
I would be happy to help you weave them in, actually.
Okay, that's awesome. Maybe I'll just, like, while Victoria's driving up to Rhinebeck, I will give you my sweater and you will weave in ends. So this is the sweater.
Is this your first time trying it on?
No, I've tried it on a few times, but I haven't tried it on for length recently.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's so dramatic.
So yeah, I will probably go. Really? This is maybe you're right.
Because you're wearing high-waisted jeans.
I'll wear 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I'm gonna do maybe like one more row of black and then go into corrugated.
I've never done corrugated ribbon.
You just switch. It's like easy. It's like one needlework or color work.
The fit is really nice.
Yeah, this fit is cool. So the fit I'm using is based on. It's not so great from the map, sorry, but the fit I'm using is based on the Paul Cleese sweater by Midori Hirose. Yeah. Okay.
It looks cool.
Cool.
Do you love it?
Yeah, I love it. And so something I did that I was like on the fence about, but I was talking to my boyfriend last night and he was like, nah, it's good. Like, you want it to be trippy, it's trippy. Was, so I had this idea where I kind of was like, okay, I'm going to do a full send when it comes to the craziness of the sweater. Like, this is not something I'm going to be wearing to work. But I will wear it at like knitting festivals and like in moments of like crazy joy. And so I actually these stripes increase in width because I wanted to kind of make it get like a little optical illusion-y.
I think it succeeds.
Yeah, I don't think it looks too weird. No. I had to redo them. I did I increased them too quickly and I had to rip back, which is not great when you're on a deadline. But in any case, loving how this is looking so far. I'm gonna do maybe maybe another inch, and then I'll move, or maybe even just like one more stripe, and then I'll move into.
How long are you gonna do ribbing for?
Pretty long. Maybe I don't know. Maybe not that long. Maybe I'll do. What do you think?
3 or 4.
This is
I don't know. I like a long rib, especially if you're doing corrugated.
Yeah, it's true because it's like a part of the, it really complements it. 3 inches?
3 or 4.
Yeah.
Just see how you
Okay, cool. So yeah.
Try it on, see when you're sick of it.
Very good point.
That's really exciting. So, I mean, basically we're being monogamous right now because we're rushing. And my other whips are, I actually frogged another one. So I have one tank top,
what did you frog?
And 2 blankets. I frogged the camisole number 2.
Okay.
Because I realized I was just like not trying to do tiny 3x3 knitting for 10 inches.
Yeah. Fair.
And especially like it was graded up for me, which is so lovely, but I'm like not totally confident in it, and I decided I don't want to knit a pattern that like wasn't originally graded up, I think. Yeah,
because you're like nervous. It's a big gamble, you know.
But I think I'm gonna use that yarn, which is oh my god, what's it called? The Pearl Soho
burnish.
Yes. Oh my god, thank you.
No problem.
For an elongated as friends tank.
Nice. Beautiful. It would be so beautiful. Which is a Jessie May design.
Yes.
Very simple tank top.
Which I test knitted and loved, but the one I made was like hit like just below my nipples.
Yeah, but you wear it all the time, right? Or
I gave it to Victoria.
Okay.
She'll wear it like over a
button down.
Turtleneck, yeah.
Cute.
But I think a long one would be really fun. So
nice.
That's my thought. I've just like loved that yarn forever, and it's been frogged 45 times because it's weird yarn. so why not? But it's not cursed, it's beautiful, it just hasn't found the right project.
Isabelle has made an entire Jessie May sweater in that yarn, right?
Yes, it's true. And
Which
also
is
half of a
crazy.
t-shirt. So, and then also a part of like a couple, like 4 inches of this tank top. So why not now?
Yeah, reuse it one more time.
Yeah.
You clearly don't mind knitting with it. The bamboo doesn't hurt your hands.
No, I love it.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
It's perfect.
It's
so
great,
It just
okay.
needs the right project.
Fabulous. Questions?
Questions.
Let's do it. So we asked some folks on the Instagram for some, like, I don't know, knitting, life questions, whatever.
And thank you for
to amuse us while we're knitting.
And thank you for knitting with us. It's a little bit of like an erratic energy today, but
yeah,
I've been
into it.
loving the podcast, the like Road to Rhinebeck podcasts, and the like. We're all.
I mean, shout out to like one of our favorite knitters, M to the Third, who's like, her podcast is amazing. It's so well done. Also, I'm like goals.
Wait, I haven't watched her recently.
Oh, I watch her all the time. She stays being my favorite like podcaster.
Really? I need to check her out. Her videos haven't been popping up for me. My favorites right now are Brooke Willow and Florence, I would say. But I also really like, there's a new one, aka Nora Knits.
Okay, you'll have to send me these.
I
don't have them. I watch M to the Third all the time. I've been watching Madison Montees, who I met on the Brooklyn Yarn Crawl, which you sadly weren't at because it was raining that day.
That was last year's, right?
Yeah, so
there was one.
It was like summer. It was like during the summer. I want to say it was like May. Yeah.
This happens all the time.
What? No, there's always Brooklyn. There was New York Yarn Crawl, not to be confused with Brooklyn Yarn. I mean, they're like, yeah.
Yeah.
But I met Madison there, so hi Madison. She's really sweet. I want to meet her, see her at Rhinebeck. So I've been watching her recently, and I've been watching. Anyway, M to the Third does a lot of like Thursday night, just like sit and knit with me, and she's a librarian, so she'll like talk about her favorite books. Or she was a librarian, now she works at the yarn shop, but still a librarian, but just not actively. So she talks about like all her books, like all her reading. She's very spooky, cozy vibes.
Yeah. And she's fat and queer, and either Jewish or her partner's Jewish, I don't remember.
Yeah.
And Latina, so lots of things that we connect with.
Yep, she's fabulous.
And I said it and I'll say it again. Her video, it's like 40 minutes on why she knits.
You love that video. I don't think I've seen it.
God, it's like amazing. I cry, I laugh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let us start with a question. What is your dream fiber destination to visit? You've been to like a lot more like fiber destinations than I've been to.
I don't know, but I really want to do like a yarn festival road trip or travel.
Okay.
Like follow the festivals.
Whoa.
Kind of a thing.
Yeah. And
we talked about this in our last. I feel like one of my favorite moments on our podcast ever was like
when we were talking about our yarn fantasies.
Yeah.
Is that what you're about to say?
It's gone, and I'm like, do we re-say it? Like, do we rebuild that imagery for you because it was so. Important.
Let's briefly allude to it. Yes.
Well, I think we've been hiking.
Yes.
In Scotland. We've stopped for 11sies in a beautiful pub.
Amazing.
And then Hannah was like, unless, and we've had like a grilled cheese and a hot chocolate, but now our hands are washed and we're knitting with tea. And then Hannah was like, unless we're like in the Spanish, like what's it called?
The Alpujarras.
Yeah.
In the south of Spain. Yeah.
In the like White Mountains, little caves with like free tapas.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I think like
one of those
is still the answer, but I do just like love a space where everybody is excited about knitting.
Yeah.
And so I really want to do some like I want to like oh my gosh, where is the eloquence? I want to go to like local knit nights. 100%. And I want to go to festivals.
Yes.
And I want to like
connect.
Yarn I want the connection. Yeah.
That's awesome. You've been to Scotland a few times now, right?
Yeah, like maybe twice.
I've never been. I would love to go.
Do you want to go to Ireland?
Yeah, of course. Like anytime. I want to go and I want to do like fully a sheep yarn tour. Yes. And hike the Highlands. That's a walk. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is a 100% on there. I would also love to go to Norway.
Norway
And
blew my mind.
I love cross-country skiing, so I would love to like cross-country ski.
With Inga.
Yeah, from knitting traditions to, yeah. And so I would love to cross-country ski and wear like beautiful Norwegian colorwork mittens, which has been on my to knit list for ages. But realistically, where I would love to go again, because I went there with friends and they weren't knitters, so I didn't get to fully immerse myself in the knitting scene there. Boo. Portland, Oregon. I know that's like a random answer, but it was so knitting forward. Because it's a very DIY city.
I love a DIY city. Wait, cool.
Yeah, it's very DIY. Like, they're really into like building their own everything, knitwear included. So that was an amazing place. It's also like rainy and foggy all the time, so perfect for rustic wools, and amazing yarn shops. I only got to Ritual Dyes, I want to say, but there were like 4 on my list that were really close.
You know what? Also the Hudson Valley. Like, I would just sit in Saugerties.
Yeah, and just, I mean, to this day, I think my favorite yarn shop is Perfect Blend.
Yeah.
Where they're so nice. So we're gonna go. Yeah.
Also, this is like such a tangent.
Yeah, go.
But you know that like there's somebody like the knitting PT or whatever, and she's always doing videos. She's awesome. She's doing videos about like how to hold your knitting, which I'm feeling very aware of because I'm watching myself knit, and she always kind of recommends putting it down here. But I'm like, if you have boobs, I realize I rest my arms on my boobs to knit.
Genius.
Because I can't really like. I'm like.
Genius. Wait, I love it.
So.
Oh, I didn't.
I was just feeling insecure about that while I was watching myself knit.
It's funny watching yourself knit because I'm so rarely looking at myself in the same
I know, but so I guess if you have big boobs and you knit up here, don't feel bad about it.
Yeah. Built-in infrastructure.
Built-in infrastructure, but make sure your back doesn't hurt because we want to be knitting for a long time.
Yeah. Do you need a pillow or something?
No, I'm okay.
I'm like, maybe I need a pillow.
No, I'm okay. I've just been like thinking about, well, whatever. Moving on.
Sorry, I'm just grabbing tea. That's why I'm like.
I haven't even had a sip of my tea.
Yeah, have a sip of your tea. I need to put my tea back. I don't want to burn the leaves. I'm very, one of the reasons I love Perfect Blend is I am deeply passionate about tea.
This is nice. Hannah has fancy tea.
I'm deeply passionate about tea. And
this is like an apple fall blend situation.
Yeah, it's herbal. That one's herbal. I've got a rose green tea. But yeah, I probably average 2 to 3 cups of tea a day. Anyway, okay, the next question. What projects are you shopping for yarn for?
That was about attractive stuff.
I don't even know what that means. Also, like, how do I interpret that?
I might edit that out.
Should we start over?
No, it's okay.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. What projects are you shopping for yarn for?
Tricky.
Do you have any in mind?
No.
Okay, I can maybe jump in. I am wanting a sport weight for the DRK everyday sweater to wear every day to work. I am looking for a green mohair, which will probably just be Ito Sensei since we're entering mohair season again, to pair with the beautiful deep green that I have from Earl Grey Fiber Company that I bought at Woolen Folk last year. It's like my only remaining sweater quantity of yarn. I love it, but I knit with, it's a MCM, a merino cashmere nylon, and I knit with an MCM earlier this year, and it totally pilled, and I held it single, so I'm like, okay, I probably want to hold it with a mohair if I knit it.
And it bears mentioning that Hannah, I have I would say a medium stash. I've really pared back, so I have like 3 little bins. Hannah has such a reasonable stash and 1 sweater quantity left, and you've used all of your Rhinebeck yarn. Other than that, right?
I've used my yarn. Yeah, I
think that's so amazing. So to say that you have your plans is like, I believe you, and I'm amazed.
I try. I mean, I love having that stash. It's really brings me joy, but I also love like knitting from it and all that stuff. So that's a plan, I think. I also have been wanting. I think I might have yarn in stash for this. It just depends how many skeins I want to knit. my office is very cold, and I kind of want like a shawl to wear like there. Yeah.
I love that.
But I'm lucky because I buy all these like hole scarring cones, so I feel like I always have yarn. Like I'm always like, and like if you buy a gray, I'm like, oh, there's always something. Like I've been wanting to make a sweater vest in like perfect color, you know. Oh, this is the same yarn, by the way.
I was wondering.
That's funny. Yeah. So this cone, that's actually great. This cone.
Like, how different are your two projects?
Yeah, this cone made me this sweater, and it's also the base color for this sweater.
And is that cone did you only buy one cone for both of these sweaters?
I'm trying to remember. I actually think I bought two. Does that make sense? That feels like so much yarn.
Well, you held that one triple.
Yeah.
And it's a 3,000 yard cone.
Yeah, I think I bought two. But I actually,
That's
if I were to
amazing.
knit this again, I would only hold it double, which you could definitely do in a cone. I'm like shocked actually, because this is so much yarn. The fact that this like a full cone went into this, it just shows you like how massive this sweater is. It's not heavy because like, I mean it's heavier, but it's not super heavy because Holst is so light.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do actually think I did two cones.
That's still incredible.
Yeah, and I've done like other
like,
projects from
$60.
this. Yeah.
And a ton of other projects.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So you're not looking for yarn, you have yarn.
So
Well, what about, I'll rephrase that question. What about what yarn from your stash are you most excited to use next?
I don't know. I've been angsting about it because suddenly I have so few whips.
Yeah.
That I'm really not used to it, and I have like a couple sweater quantities, but I've been really like, what's gonna be wearable? Like, what pattern do I want to do? I'm really excited about socks since last episode socks. And I have some sock yarn, but I don't have a ton of like DK. And also I don't have a ton of sock yarn anyway. So I kind of want like red sock yarn, but which I also wore last year actually. So it's been a while.
Yeah.
And accessory skeins here and there. I think I usually, when at Rhinebeck so far, have bought from yarn stores. The first year I just got this one incredible hand spun Icelandic wool skein that got me a hat and two mittens.
Yeah.
And I remember like the day after Rhinebeck, I knit the hat the day after, I knit one mitten the day after that, and then the other mitten the day after that, and it was like this glorious frenzy.
Yeah, a Rhinebeck weekend. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just was like so in awe with my like one skein. And I'm pretty like, I don't want to say picky, but maybe like discerning about what yarn I work with, but maybe not even, and not in like a like higher, like this is better, but just like more what I want, I guess. And I have a ton of yarn. So I think if I see something that makes me really excited, or like a good deal for like a big scarf, I want like a big, huge scarf.
Yeah.
But I don't see myself spending like a ton of money on multiple sweater quantities unless there's like something really special or something really like reasonably priced. Mostly I think I'm there for the vibes in the community.
Nice.
Or like accessories. I don't know.
Yeah.
And watch me in 2 weeks be like, here's some but I did some damage in Iceland and or my gosh, not in Iceland, I wish, in Norway and Portugal this summer. So I'm kinda like, okay.
Yeah.
I do have like a couple, like a $200 to $300 budget, but I don't expect to spend the whole thing for sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, you know what sweater I've always wanted to make is what's the sweater by Petite Knit that you and your mom or you made your mom and you made yourself?
The Wednesday?
Yeah, the Wednesday sweater.
Yeah.
I would love to make that, and I've
Me
been
too.
dying to actually use Noro yarn.
Me too. And
Yeah.
I bought Noro last time, and then I knit with it, and it shrunk
Yeah.
because my cat peed on it, and then I washed it, and it was terrible. So now it's my mom's. I would also love a sweater quantity of Noro again.
Yeah. That's a yarn like I've been dying to use.
But this
forever.
time I want like a light, more subtle Noro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love. It was beautiful, like incredible to knit with. Also, I think like I have so many patterns living in my head rent free all the time that come Rhinebeck, we'll see what happens.
You'll like know.
But it's not like unresearched, I would say.
Yeah, my first year I came with like printouts of like the patterns I wanted to buy for, and I didn't buy anything because I was just like so sensory overload excited. And this year I have like a long list, but it's stuff I mostly, I want to do a lot of sweater vests. I want to do like a big turtleneck, but it's stuff I mostly like have materials for.
And you did really well for yourself last year. Like, I mean, she has made some incredible pieces this year from the Rhinebeck yarn last year, so I'm really curious to see what you'll do this year.
And I still love Verse Yarns, had like this beautiful blend that I would still love to knit from again.
I would not mind getting like a shawl quantity from them, or I really want a DK socks game from Creo Yarns, who's I think a Detroit or Chicago dyer. Really beautiful Victoria knit a sock, a pair of socks with her yarn, and I'm like in awe of the base and the colors.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, next. How do you find budget yarn ! In parentheses, lol. So that's from my friend Tasha, who's joining us next, or in 2 weeks at Rhinebeck. She's amazing. She is working on the September sweater as her first like brioche project, first sweater project. She's crazy.
So, and it's beautiful.
And
speaking of budget, she's doing it
in a wandering flock.
Three strands of mohair held together.
From wandering flock. And her first project was all wool folk yarn. She's very loyal about going to Cleo's, which I really appreciate and respect, and going to wandering flock, which I, again, really appreciate and respect. And I feel like that's like a, beginner's mistake where you're like, there's all this beautiful yarn out there. And then you're like, oh my God, this blanket's costing me $1,000.
And so I would say there's like budget, there's mid-range, and then there's like fancy.
Yeah.
And I think we fall into like mid-range, like high budget to mid-range.
Yeah.
To fancy mid-range.
Yeah.
Is our sort of where we, this is the scale and we flip-flop.
Yeah.
I would say. So, and actually I love AKA Nora Knits because she's using like Lion's brand and like whatever bougie stuff, you know, and sort of using them interchangeably, which I think is kind of, and like not going on and on about the prices and the like politics of it, which I kind of actually think is like cool. Really epic and accessible, but so I think it depends what you're looking for and what you want to knit and how you want to take care of your garments, if you want to wash them or like by hand or by machine, how you want them to last, using the right yarn for the right project.
Yeah.
And what am I saying?
I would also, can I just throw out some brands, I feel like? So, I mean, we could just wax on and on, but I love my Holskarn. I've been, like, loving it even more recently. You had a lot of success with that Knit Picks palette, right?
Love Knit Picks palette.
So that's just, like, a thin, accessible...
I love...
Like, definitely a true fingering, I would say.
A true fingering weight. Really similar to the good wool, though, from Purple Soho. I also love their Wool of the Andes.
Yeah.
I like Knit Picks in general, and I would say they're like a little bit more expensive than like your Michaels, your Lion Brand, your Joann's.
Yeah.
But I would say like that's like higher end of budget.
Yeah.
But like I really, really like their yarn, and they have great colors.
I also love what's it called? The big Webs. Webs is amazing. So go online to Webs. Like I was knitting something for my brother. And I knew I needed a large quantity of yarn, and I knew I needed, like, this was the weight, this was the properties, whatever. And, like, they have, like, always a discount, and, like, you can see yarns on sale. Webs.com, it's, like, a family-run business. It feels big. Like, it feels really, like, well-run. And it's big and, like, a little corporate-y, but it's, like, a lovely family in Northampton who's, like, a wool supplier. Yeah.
I would also say
so Webs.com, I would
shop those sales. Like we had this incredible time at what's it called, that place that we went to, Fab Yarns.
Fab Yarns.
They were having like everything in the store 30% off during Rhinebeck, and they had like fancy brands and less fancy brands. Everything on the price point was there, and really, really marked down. And also go to your local yarn store and see what's on clearance, you know.
Yeah.
I think like, and Pearl Soho is almost always on sale something.
Yeah.
So I think following those sales.
Pearl Soho is great mid-range, like high quality mid-tier price range.
Yeah, and they can be expensive, but their sales are really like they have 25% off often. Yeah, and also shop people's D-stashes.
Oh, that's a good one. Are you ever shopping like Ravelry D-stashes?
No, but I know people who do.
I know people who do also. I think like Jasmine does, our knitting friend.
Yeah, I mean it's really smart. Also, thrift stores and I forgot what I was gonna say.
Yeah. Or you could be really crazy and like unravel a sweater, which we've never done.
Oh yeah, people like buy sweaters at thrift shops and unravel them, and there's like classes on them. I believe you can buy the recorded class from I Run This Knit and Artsy Farts or something.
Okay.
I think is her name. Andrea Arts. I love her. And they have a class on like how to know what sweaters you can unravel. It's a really great way, like if a sweater, a machine made sweater has a stain, you just don't use that part and then it doesn't go to the landfill. So that's really cool, but it depends if it has been like seamed over the ends, because then
it's kind of unusable, yeah. I'll also say that like, probably goes without saying, but like knit fingering weight. Like I knit a lot of fingering weight because I like luxury, and I don't like most climates. I feel like you're wearing a sweater underneath a coat. Like you don't want an uber bulky plus mohair, you know. And so like fingering weight is my favorite yarn to knit. I find it's the most comfortable. And
also dye it yourself. A lot of the time you can get way more affordable of luxury sort of bases, or just like unique bases or whatever base you're looking for, from suppliers directly. And it's not that hard to dye yarn.
Nice. Yeah.
It's, you know, natural dye is like a little intense or like a little bit more difficult.
You can just buy like Rit dye.
You can buy Rit dye, yeah. Or like save onion skins and avocado pits and like have an experiment. But or use, if you want something white or like undyed. Yeah. You know, this is undyed.
Yeah. Is it cheaper the Pearl Soho undyed or no? No, they just
nothing is ever cheaper undyed, and I think that's so interesting. And it was something that I was really like conflicted about when I, or not usually, but when I had my like small business, I was like, am I really supposed to charge the same amount for the undyed skein? Yeah. And I don't know. I think like it's complicated how people price things. And we don't need to get into that. Yeah. But usually undyed yarn is not cheaper unless you get it from the supplier. I really like nomad yarns. Yeah. For like luxury-ish bases that are, I would say they're usually like 30 to 60% cheaper undyed, which is kind of big.
Yeah, that's huge.
And if you're buying in bulk as well or going in with friends, it can be a lot less expensive. I also think picking your battles in terms of like, I did one sweater that was like Wandering Flock mohair, but palette like held together, and it really knocked the price down, but I still got to feel like fancy. Yeah. And for that reason, I think we're like not the right people to ask about budget yarn, because we are bougie, but I think we like pick our battles. I would say.
Totally, 100%. Okay. Keep moving. So, what is your worst frogging story?
Yeah. I don't know, I frog all the time.
You frog all the time, but I feel like I don't frog. I actually have something waiting for me to frog. Because I don't frog because I feel like I'm so intentional about. No, that's a lie.
You are intentional.
Yeah, and I try not to.
I'm not.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, maybe I don't.
It's okay.
I'm
not mad.
Well, you're like really just like, okay, I'm gonna knit something. If I don't like it, I'm gonna rip it out.
Yeah.
Okay. I have beautiful knit collage waiting for me to be frogged. Oh. Yeah. Because I like made this sweater that was short sleeve, and I was like, and I'm gonna make it a bell like bottom, which was stupid and doesn't look good. So It's like a weird flare. I tried. And it will take me 5 seconds to frog, but it's like knit collage. I love that yarn. It's obviously insane and amazing. And it's just like, once you get, it's just so, it's not very versatile, right? Like you can use it for like their patterns. And so it feels like, okay, if I'm going to go for that yarn, I'm going to like really commit. Which I would love to do because it's sad to have all that like beautiful, expensive, fancy yarn just sitting. And I would love to make like a pillow for this couch. This couch is just like, yeah, and bring cute. Some color into the room. But again, it's like, it's also space, like, right? Like I'm just knitting with one strand of fingering versus like a basket of knit collage in like a New York City apartment. So yeah, that is just like, yeah, it will be a sad frogging story, and I feel like it's actually sadder because I haven't even frogged it yet. Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah. Should we move on then?
Yeah.
Oh, this is a good one. Best yarn shop outside of NYC. Perfect Blend?
Why can I never remember the name? The Perfect Blend.
It's actually really hard to remember. Yeah, because I always want to be like tea Earl Grey. Like,
yeah.
Perfect Blend is great. You love Retrosaria Palmar.
I love Retrosaria Palmar.
Yeah.
In Lisbon, Portugal.
Yeah. I would also give a shout out to Sticks in Bozeman, Montana, run by my college friend's mom. And such a massively large selection of yarn and really high quality stuff. And yeah, that was like the first time I've kind of been in like, ooh, like you move out west, you have space, you know? It's like 3 rooms and hard. I mean, like Montana, like they don't mess around with their knitting. It's like, really? You know what I mean? Like it's just clearly people are going in there and they're like serious, which is a nice environment to be in.
Wow.
So I would give them a shout out.
You know what else? That Les Petits Points in Paris is like one of the only hand dye, like indie dye stores in Paris.
Okay, cool.
It is delicious. Also, there's another one in Paris that I'm blanking on, like, but Le Bien Aimé just did like a pop-up there.
Yeah.
And I love it. I like it actually because I like their mix of fabric and
they have set fabric right now.
And like tchotchkes and sort of general haberdashery vibes, but really fun.
Yeah, I think that's it. I would love to do more like knitting tourism where I go to yarn shops all over the world.
I would love to do more knitting tourism.
And I would also love to be in like New York yarn shops are just like pressed for space, and so it makes it like.
And they're not.
I mean, we love Cleo's. I love Cleo's, great,
yeah.
But it's just like they've got something really good going there because there's like a table and everything, but I feel like I would love to go somewhere where like it's very community focused and there's like a space for you to sit down. There was my yarn shop growing up was on Court Street, La Casita. Did you ever go there? Oh, it closed ages ago, but it was on Court Street in Brooklyn. La Casita, and they were a yarn shop cafe, and you could get, and they had, Colson Patisserie? Yes, I love which we love.
They had a Colson?
They would only get the stuff from Colson. That was my first time having like a Colson Madeline and all this stuff. Yeah, so that was an amazing yarn shop. Like Yarn Shop Cafe, I haven't really been to one. So
I want one where like I walk in and they're like, "Hey, you're back."
Yes, like a regular yarn shop, yeah.
Because, and I actually, when I was in, where was I?
Paris? Or?
No, in Cornwall on the Hudson, the Cornwall Yarn Shop. It's kind of like tiny with like tons of yarn just like smushed in.
Right.
And she's in the middle of like a total not a rebrand, but she's like changing out her stock. So there's a lot on sale, but also she's about to have like really amazing rustic, local, dyed, yada yada.
Yeah.
And just like we were there for like an hour, and everybody in the store helped us out, like with deciding what yarn to get and what we were gonna knit with it, and like the owner was like, if this is your like budgeted yarn, like sweater quantity for the like month, I'm not selling you more yarn until like the next month,
Great.
And it was just like hilarious and cozy.
It's when you have like a good character running the shop, that really makes it.
Yeah, and like people who come regularly and like know each other. I think like it wasn't like it's just so much more about that than like what am I gonna buy there. I think. Although for aesthetics and like having things I want to buy, Perfect Blend really does.
Yeah, Perfect Blend is great.
Yeah.
And they're so sweet.
And
there.
and they also have the community. I think if we lived there, I'd totally feel like she would know me and like it'd be magical.
Great. Okay. Okay, let's do yours maybe. What is your favorite non-traditional knitting tool?
Oh my gosh, okay, I don't know.
What about these guys?
Is that non-traditional?
A barber cord? I only found out about them like a few years ago.
But I feel like now everybody uses them.
I think it's non-traditional.
Okay.
Look, do you want to see mine, which I haven't shown you yet? My answer to this question? I'm about to get out this knitting tool because I have it in my bag at all times.
Wait, what is it?
You're gonna die. It's so nerdy.
Oh my god. Oh, what is that?
It's so you can like watch TV and knit.
You have it in your bag at all times? Wait.
Wait, it's actually so funny.
Is that like the purpose of it?
Yeah, it's like a knitting light.
But like that's what it was branded as when you bought it?
Yeah, it's like branded as a knitting light, I think.
Oh my god. I remember in like a past episode we talked about like, does your partner make you turn off the light?
Yes. And the answer to that question is yes. Yes.
That's so
So wait, it's cute though. So then he bought this for me.
He bought it for you?
Yeah, it was my what holiday just happened?
I
honestly think it was my anniversary. Wait, is that possible? I think that's literally my anniversary.
And you said, "Oh my god, baby, I love it."
Yeah, I don't want to like put him on the spot here.
No, that's very thoughtful. He knows you well.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's been really awesome and I've really enjoyed it. So I would recommend it if you don't mind looking like an absolute nerd while you knit. But okay, what it's really good for is like being the passenger in a car because I'm very much like passenger princess, like knitting in the passenger seat.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
I can't think what mine is.
I feel like I could think.
But I mean, that's great. You win this question.
Okay.
Do you have, unless you can think of something
for you? We don't really use yarn bowls. I don't use a yarn bowl that often.
No. Oh, you're wearing your hand knit socks.
Yeah.
That's nice.
I wear them all winter. Like I was wearing the second it drops below 60. I'm like in hand knit socks all the time.
Wow.
And I need to actually knit more because I don't know. It's so a lot more. Okay. What patterns are in your winter wish list?
Well, I have that sweater quantity that I got from the Cornwall yarn shop, and it's in snow, Woolfolk Snow.
Oh my god,
that,
Woolfolk is amazing.
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
And it's that marled navy and white.
Right.
It's angry white. And I cannot decide if I would wear a crew neck or not.
Okay.
But I think I might do, and I can't decide. I've been going back and forth. There's the Sari Nordland. I think it's called like Ilta or Ilsa or something. Okay. It's like one of her not very well known patterns, I feel like. Mm-hmm. But it's like a sort of like a wide crew neck that like, raglan, but it has nice like shape and drape.
Okay. Did she just do it? Is it the stripe one she just released or no?
No, but I love that sweater.
Yeah, the stripe one she just released is amazing. Yeah, me too. I love it.
I wanted it that.
God, we love Sorry.
Yeah.
We love Sorry Nordland. Yeah.
But I want like a summery light fabric. So
I mean, you know what I think you should do. I said it last time.
I know, but
I want as well to do the Weekender.
I don't think I want to.
You don't want to, which is fine, yeah.
I don't know what I want. I want it really drapey and like
nice.
French tucky.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Mm-hmm. I really want to do a ranunculus.
Yeah.
Sorry, but I do.
Yeah, nice, beautiful. So you want it to be short sleeved or?
No, long sleeved.
Long sleeve, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want a
I think ranunculus would be hard with that yarn because it's like.
No, I don't want it with that yarn.
But you just want it in general. Yes.
Yeah. And I want like more.
Burnish would be awesome. Ranunculus and burnish.
Really?
Don't you think?
Well, I don't know because the sweater that I made with burnish was like the gauge was too big.
Yeah.
And I think that burnish needs a tighter gauge.
Okay, fair. Yeah.
But like potentially. I need to think about it. Okay. But I think like I don't know. I really just want wearable sweaters.
Yeah.
Is the vibe this year, and I don't know like what that is yet. And I've been like fixating on Ravelry every time like I have a break from work.
Yeah, I'd be like, what is a wearable?
What am I wanting to do? Because I think I've always been very like, wow, whatever, and it's worked out for me sometimes, and other times it's not, and we're seeing how planning is going to go for me. I want to be really thoughtful, but I don't know. I feel like, Hannah, you have more ideas for yourself, and also actually if you have suggestions for me, sorry that I poo-pooed the last one, but
No, I'm trying to think. I was thinking about that Pearl Soho pattern that they did the knit along with. That was like, this was a while ago now, but let me see if I can pull it up. They did like a knit along with this pullover. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-mm.
I feel like it could look really nice on you. It's super basic, so you'd have to be like, okay. But if you're looking for a fingering weight basic sweater, let's see.
That's what I'm looking for. I want like a couple of them.
Yeah, let me
also,
show
I want
you.
to do the Ozetta oversized seasoned cardigan, which somebody mentioned in our comments.
Yeah, I was actually thinking of Ozetta when you mentioned that.
And I kind of want to do like a bright red or like a bright colored one.
First off, this could be really nice. The simple stripe. This is not the one I was thinking about, but
that is really
Caitlin
nice.
from Patty Jackson did that. Sorry, it's on my phone, but
No, that's really nice.
yeah. The one that I'm thinking of is not this one.
I was also thinking about the Cozy Classic Light from Jessie May.
Yeah, I mean similar.
I just
It's
want,
not a similar
basic
shape.
one, but it's really hard to decide because there's so many that are like similar but not exactly the same. And the snow, the like variegated snow, or not variegated, the like marled snow yarn is kind of difficult because
it has so much like
yeah,
going
like,
on
I was
already.
even like there was one pattern that I thought about that has like a lace texture, and then I was like, do I want some texture on this? Do I want?
I don't think you want lace on that.
Yeah.
I think you could do ribbing and that could look awesome, but I think any lace would be too much.
I want to do the big rib sweater again, and I want to do the petite knit like rib sweater.
Yeah.
But I think in just like neutral colors. And so actually, if there's more of those like massive alpaca hanks this year,
You might
buy
you
some
might
of
go.
those for like sweater.
Yeah,
pieces.
so Fab Yarns has like awesome massive alpaca hanks that we dyed over.
As does the Perfect Blend, and I think it's just like a very widely like yarn shops will get those hanks and make them their store brands.
Yeah. So I'm not able to find the sweater, but in any case, I'll send it to you. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
It's like classic raglan crew neck sweater, but it has a cool neckline. So the question was what patterns are we excited to knit for winter?
I feel like I have so many saved up, and I what it is that I'm like kind of frozen right now, and I can't decide if I want like intense cables or ribbing or like a brioche cardigan or like fingering lace or like what the vibe is or just socks. I don't know because I suddenly don't have that many whips, which was my goal, but now I'm like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Usually I just knit cast on 13 thing, but like if I'm not doing that, what's the plan?
I am excited for I'm gonna do these mittens, which I showed last episode.
Amazing.
Which I'm really excited for. So those there's a slight chance. I have a work trip tomorrow that involves 8 hours of transportation plus. So I know it's gonna be rough. I'm getting up at like 3:30 to go to DC. So I might cast those.
Reason.
Yes, but I might cast those on tomorrow morning, so I don't have to bring like a massive sweater.
Wait, this is a perfect opportunity to finish your Rhinebeck sweater.
You think, but I'm like, am I carrying this in my work bag? I guess it's not heavy. It's true.
Oh, but are you literally just like it's a day trip and you're carrying like a little briefcase thingy?
Yeah, like I'm carrying like a work bag. I actually think I should just bring this on the train and just like boom, 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 boom.
Because then you'll finish.
Yeah, it's true.
And I'll lose the race.
Yeah. I didn't know we were competing.
No, we're not competing. Well, we're just competing against the time.
Against the clock, yeah. So I'll probably do that. And I want to do a vest. Like I want to do a sweater vest. I might remember. What is his? I was just looking at his Instagram. Yes. Okay. So let's start that over. I'm also wanting to knit the Boyfriend Slipover by Pearl Jam. And he was from Brooklyn, and then he moved to London. But I just feel like it'd be nice to support, and I'm like, I think that's just like really cute, like basic V-neck slipover. And I'm wanting to knit a turtleneck and the DRK every day. So pretty basic stuff. I think that's it for questions. So thank you for joining us for this sleepy come sit and knit with us. We are so excited to see you at Rhinebeck. We will be at Woolen Folk on Friday, and then on Saturday we'll be at Rhinebeck proper.
And we would like to meet up at 2:30.
Yeah.
Where?
Let's meet by the picnic tables at 2:30.
By the picnic tables at 2:30.
But behind the Brussels sprout stand.
If it's still there.
If it's there.
Okay,
we'll post on our Instagram when we get there. But yeah.
And I hope that this brought some joy, or at least some like
solace,
positive, like tuning out of the world. And we hope you're being gentle with yourselves.
Yeah, and thanks for joining us. So good to see everyone. And happy knitting.
Bye.